Hello, my friends. This is Tracy. I'm coming at you from the sanctuary here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I just wanted to take some time to do a little bit of healing work for people. Right now, there's a lot of panic and a lot of fear and confusion around what's going on with the coronavirus. There's also a lot of panic and fear about people that are panicking and fearing around the coronavirus. And, if we can do some work to help resolve some of those things. The other thing, too, is there's very specific things that we can do with BodyTalk as far as directly helping to strengthen the immune system and strengthening your body's ability to see whatever viruses or other issues are going on, so it can take a look and do what it needs to do. Along with that, I've this past hour or so, well, I've kind of been meditating and thinking when I felt like I needed to do this. There's really kind of a lot going on. There's political, psychological things going on worldwide, as well as more specific to like North America and the United States, as well as more specific issues with body chemistry and even genetic things, and how information is transmitted from one person to another. So I don't really know what's going to happen. This is actually the first time I've actually done a live body talk session for a matrix for a group through the telephone, through the internet. But I felt like this was important for me to do because there's a lot of people out there that can use help, that can use immune boosting help, and there are some. This is a more virulent strain of virus than other viruses out there. So if we can help people's immune systems to be able to see it more clearly, see it sooner, as opposed to after it's too late, before they really need medical intervention, that can go a long ways. So if you're seeing this for the first time and you don't really know what a body talk is, I'm just going to do a little bit of a brief explanation here. I want this video to go out as far and wide as possible. So feel free to share this with anybody you know. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends. Share it with your children. What I'm going to be doing is doing a body talk session for a collective matrix for anybody that is watching the video. And so what I'm going to be doing is doing some body talk. And what that is when a lot of you have come in and done one-on-one sessions with me as far as body talk goes. And what we're going to be doing is, what we do as a body talk session is we kind of tap into your body's innate wisdom. Your body already knows how to heal itself. Your body, believe it or not, already knows how to cure itself from the coronavirus, right? It's just a matter of waking that up and listening to what it needs. And so when we do individual sessions, we kind of are able to tap into that part of your body and mind that already knows how to heal itself. And then we find out what the priorities are, what things need to be reconnected, what parts of the body, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, physically, biochemically, need to be upgraded so that the body can get back on track for healing itself. So when we do a group session, what we're doing is we're tapping into that collective innate wisdom of how to heal ourselves. And so how I'm setting this up is, anybody that watches this video is part of the matrix, is going to be part of this group energy for how to increase your resilience, increase your resistance to immune system, increase the resistance to specifically the coronavirus is what we're working with today. And so I'm not really sure what's going to happen, as those of you know who have experienced body talk or are body talk practitioners. I listen to what innate tells me to do, and then I go ahead and I do the session. I want to thank a few people. I've been actually thinking about doing this for a few days. And then my colleague my colleague Ashley, actually did something earlier today. So if you haven't watched her healing session yet around this same issue, feel free to do that. I haven't seen it myself because I didn't want to pollute what information I was getting, but I probably will watch that too once I get done here. And just get as much healing as you can around this issue because it'll be very helpful. I also want to thank my colleague Kylene. She just posted a really interesting scientific article about exactly what's going on with the coronavirus and how it's different and how it is worth being discerning about it. Not fear, but it's always good to just know what's going on so you can make rational, informed decisions about your life and about your family and your loved one. Okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is, what I'm doing is I'm setting myself up as a surrogate. So I'm going to be doing the session on myself, but that's going to represent everybody that's watching. So it's going to represent you and anybody that you share this video with. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to tap our cortices out. And for those of you who don't know what cortices are, basically it's a energetic way that we can connect the sides of the brain together to get the left and right sides communicating across the corpus callosum more efficiently. So everything that happens in the body-mind is reflected in the brain somehow. So if the brain can talk to itself more efficiently, it's going to be better able to see what's going on within the body. So you can just follow along with me. If you know how to do cortices, you can do it with me. But if you don't, just for the purposes of this video, just by watching the video, you'll be able to receive the transmission of the torsion fields as I'm doing the session here. So the first thing we're doing is we're tapping our cortices. We're just focusing on increasing the communication between the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And if you want to do this with me, you can just kind of follow along and put your hand where I'm putting mine. I'm kind of crawling up the middle of the brain, and the focus is really simple. We're just increasing communication and coordination between the left and right sides of the brain. If you'd like, I have other videos where I actually teach the cortices technique. It's a simple enough thing. But so you can see that at a different time if you like. Able to get the benefits because there's enough people here on the stream as well as myself that knows how to do cortices. And what this will do is it'll set up your body-mind so that it'll be more effective with whatever we're doing next here going forward. Just focusing on increasing circulation and harmony and coordination between the left and right sides of the brain. And by waking your brain up, getting it more self-aware, it's going to be better able to see everything that goes on in the body. This prefrontal cortex is real important for humans to be able to have that working really well. It's like a really big giant supercomputer. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a moment to put myself in a little bit more neutral place. And what's going to happen then is we're going to do a body talk session, and for the group, for everybody that's watching this video, will be able to receive a body talk session around and our parameters that we're focusing on are specifically improving your immune system, and specifically we're focusing on improving your resilience towards the current coronavirus, and specifically so if you have it, it'll help to increase your body's ability to fight it off and deal with it. If you don't have it, it'll increase your body's immune response so that maybe you won't get it. So this will be very powerful. I've seen people cured of just the virus, just simple viruses themselves, simply through body chemistry. So we're doing a whole session focusing on helping to increase the resiliency and ability of the body's immune system to deal with the coronavirus and all of the psychological and emotional and chemical issues associated with that. Okay. So for those of you that haven't experienced a BodyTalk session, I've got kind of a protocol chart that I go through, and I'm closing my eyes right now so I can kind of focus a little bit more, but I'm just kind of going to be going through the the BodyTalk protocol chart, and you'll be able to experience upgrades in whatever starts coming up. So the first thing that's coming up here for me is the throat chakra. There's if you're not familiar with the chakra systems, there are energy centers in the body, and actually back in the 70s they actually discovered ways to measure the piezoelectric currents that go along the body, and there are energy centers at the different parts that coincide with the Vedic philosophies, as well as other ancient religions, including Judaism and Christianity. But the throat chakra is a center in the middle of the body that deals with speaking our truth and being authentic. And so that's what we're focusing on right now. And collectively, there seems to be some dysfunction with how the throat chakra works, and I think it has to do. Yeah, what's coming up is it's oriented to a few different things here. It's oriented to government in general. And really people's perception of what other people think about each other as well. So there's kind of two things that are coming up. And what we're seeing is we kind of live in a world where people make snap judgments about what other people think before they really know the full story about what's being thought, the media does this, the social media does this. People are kind of being trained in our modern society to think in terms of one-liners and memes and things like that, and so unfortunately, what ends up happening is if that's how people communicate, that's how people understand things, then when you're expressing your truth to somebody, it's going to be difficult for you to do that if they're jumping to conclusions before they really understand what you're all about, right? We want people to really understand what each other is all about. And so what happens then is people either there's two different dysfunctions that I'm seeing here. And I feel like we're probably all, have both of them, but there's sometimes people have tendency to kind of clam up and just not share because they just don't want to talk about it because they're afraid of getting unfairly attacked or unfairly misunderstood. Or the other option is you take your truth and you beat people over the head with it, because you don't want to have to deal with misunderstandings. And so what we're running is we're going to run, and this makes a lot of sense to me that this is coming up because the coronavirus is largely a lung issue. That's the SARS, the respiratory thing. And so the throat chakra and the lungs are closely associated in that the lungs, you use your lungs to breathe and speak and things like that. So we're focusing on just kind of defragging this programming that's in the throat chakra so that it can be working much more effectively. And we're actually running a consciousness balancing on this around the concepts of self-expression, right? Self-expression, individuating that into the heart. And so what'll happen here is, instead of struggling to express ourselves as efficiently and as possible, we can just kind of realize that we already know how to do that. It's a God-given gift by virtue of the fact that we're a child of God, that we have this ability to be truthful and authentic. And so what you might find as you're going through life is you might find it's just a little easier for you to just be yourself. Okay. So that's the first thing that's come up. And that's, it's really kind of cool when things like this come up because not only are we healing your immune system and your ability to speak your truth, but also societies in general. So bringing openness and communication and authenticity is something that's going to help improve not only physical health but also relationships and health between different competing ideas and things like that. Okay. So I'm actually staying in the chakra system. We're focusing on the root chakra now, so that has to do with grounding and being centered and being really secure in the physical material world. And actually what's coming up is we are anchoring this root chakra into the earth. So you can really feel grounded and safe. Okay, and that's kind of packaging up as a single item. We're linking this to an environmental factor. We're actually, it's the concept of money. So a lot of people don't feel very secure because of a lack of money. So we're actually going to be reorienting us to the concept of money. This is entering through the head, so it's all the different mind games that we play with money. And every person has different mind games that they play about money and whether they have enough of it or not, or things like that. And that's affecting that root chakra. Okay, and that's all packaging up as a single item. And we're going to be linking that to another part of the body mind. So we're still in an environment. So we're focusing on an event. So this is actually, again, kind of linking to that event of when the media first started talking about the coronavirus. And what I'm seeing here is there's like a lot of fear and panic that kind of was had, and a lot of that was projected. So we're going to be just kind of helping to dissolve that and let that go. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and tap. And if you want to tap yourself, that would be good. When we tap over the head, we're implementing the change. When we tap over the heart, we're integrating and saving it. When we tap over the gut, we're really integrating it and making that deep here. Okay, so I'm focusing on some organs. I'm actually focusing on the heart right now. So this is everybody's heart that's watching the video with me. And we're linking the heart to the lungs, and we're also wanting to link the heart to... So this is interesting. It's actually the lungs, but we're linking the heart specifically to like the upper lobes of the lungs, and also linking to the lower lobes of the lungs. So we're specifically linking directly into those aspects. And that's linking up into the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus is the part of the brain that regulates the entire immune response system. And then that's wanting to talk to the thymus, which is the basic endocrine that controls the immune system. And there's a consciousness definition kind of on this whole heart center package here, the lungs, heart, and thymus. And this is about heart protection, right? None of us wants to be hurt. And so there's kind of like a wall around the heart that we have an opportunity to kind of open that up and increase the permeability for the information from the heart center to get out to the rest of the body, mind, and vice versa, but also for that information to get between people, so it's easier to have open-hearted, like heart-to-heart communications. Okay, and so that whole thing is kind of packaging up, and we're going to be linking that into a circulation plugin. And we're actually focusing on the circulation of water. So water itself is very important. I think you all know that, but there's an exclusion zone type of water that like coats the sides of all the fascia and the nerves and everything like that. And it actually circulates through the body, and information actually gets transmitted. Some physical therapists are actually referring to it as like a secondary nervous system almost. And so what we're doing is we're gonna be optimizing and increasing the circulation of this exclusion zone water through the heart complex. And kind of what I'm seeing is like a clarification that's going on. So, where there might have been excessive lymph drainage or excessive gunk or things like that, we're kind of draining that out and helping to detox that bring in like healthy water, healthy circulation of good, clean, pure water, so that this entire energy center in the body can function as optimally as possible. And this is linking into the heart chakra as well. And again, what I'm seeing is we're kind of linking that to everybody. So what's going on here is we're having like a heart-to-heart communication, like linking everybody's heart chakras together within this matrix, but also within everybody else in the United States specifically is kind of what's coming up here. So that and so what can happen here is the more people that watch this video and actually experience the improved immune and improved health benefits of this, the more likely it is that you'll be able to just kind of transmit this information to other people simply by being open-hearted and open with others, so that they can kind of get the same attunement, so to speak, that you're receiving from getting from receiving this BodyTalk session, so they can get that session as well. Okay, so we're going to tap that in. So go ahead and tap over your head and your heart and your gut. Okay. Okay, so the next thing that's coming up is we are focusing on your heart. So everybody's heart that's watching this video. And we're linking the heart to the kidneys. And this is kind of defined by fear in the kidneys, as well as, let's see, we got something specific coming up here. Protection in the heart. So like kind of the fear in the kidneys and the protection in the heart, wanting to kind of talk to each other. And kind of individuate the concept of protection. What does protection really mean? It's all of the masks and coping mechanisms and fears and psychological issues that we have around the concept of protection. Helping to really break that down so that you can be more aware that you already are protected. You know, you're the child of God, and that's just by virtue of your existence, you're already protected. And I'm helping the body mind to just be more aware of that, so that they can be more secure. So you can be more secure in your world and how you do your life. And then that whole thing is kind of talking to the kidneys as well about how to deal with fear, how to process fear. You know, maybe there's a lot of things that aren't really we able to even be afraid of. And there's actually, I mentioned this before we started this session, but there's kind of two specific fears that we are dealing with. So there's the fear of the virus itself, and I think we all probably have a little bit of fear along that. But then there's also fear of how other people who are scared behave. And so there's both of those issues that we are focusing on, and just again really helping to teach the kidneys how to do fear. Kidneys are the main part of the body that holds fear in them. So if we can reteach the kidneys the best way to process fear and deal with it, maybe the best way to help somebody that's scared of the coronavirus is to love them, you know, as opposed to, you know, calling them stupid, or, you know, downplaying it, or not being authentic with them. And then what ends up happening is, because you're real with them and you're there for them and you have an open heart, they might not be quite as scared. And then the fear that you are feeling about their fear can be dissolved as well. So we can heal each other in that way. Okay, so we're just going to be tapping in this heart to kidney. So go ahead and tap over your head and your heart and your gut as we get this heart to kidney complex optimized along these lines. Okay, and so now we're going into body chemistry. So what I'm going to have you do, for those of you that aren't familiar with BodyTalk Access Routine, the navel is actually a really big energy center that's able to really see everything that's going on in the body-mind. So what I'm going to have you do is, I know it sounds a little weird, but go ahead and take a little bit of saliva and go ahead and put it in your navel. So you probably can't see me there, but I'm just putting a little bit of saliva in the navel. You used to eat out of your navel. You probably don't remember that, but you did used to eat out of your navel. So it's just it's like a big giant microscope, right? And it's going to be able to see much more effectively everything that's going on in the body-mind. So what's coming up here for the purposes of this session is a general body chemistry technique. And so being able to look at all the different viruses and bacteria and multicellular organisms like parasites and funguses, just look at all of that so that the body can actually see everything that's going on. But then that's also linking to the hypothalamus. Specifically, we're dealing with temperature regulation of the body-mind. So if your body notices that there's something needs to fight off, the healthy healing response is to have a little bit of a fever. But we're wanting to link that to the hypothalamus, so the hypothalamus can have a better control over where that temperature needs to be. Fever is good, but having too much of a fever, can be, too much medicine, so to speak. One of the things with the coronavirus is that typically the body and mind doesn't even notice that it's there until it's got a huge viral load. And so then the typical immune response is to just go into complete overdrive and just overwhelm the body with antibodies. And so in a lot of ways, it's not really the virus that causes the problem, it's the body's own immune response. So what we're doing here is we are making sure that your hypothalamus is monitoring the immune response so it's not like overblown. We want just the right amount of fever, right? Okay, so we have the body chemistry formula linking to the hypothalamus, and then that's, as a group, those two things are wanting to talk to the thymus. And so the thymus is the part of the body that deals with choosing, it teaches the white blood cells what things are things that are invading that need to be attacked, and it teaches the white blood cells what things aren't. So it's that programming. And so what's going on is we need to update the thymus with the information that it needs so that it can recognize and effectively recognize the coronavirus when it sees it. So it doesn't get under the radar, so to speak. It's like we're beefing up security by teaching. There's enough people in the world that have had the coronavirus, this particular strain. There's enough scientists in the world that are studying it. That information is in the collective consciousness of humanity right now. And so we can bring that in and use that information kind of as a resource satellite teach our thymuses how to recognize that, so that it won't be caught off guard going forward as much. So just go ahead and hold your thymus. It's right behind your heart. I'm going to go ahead and tap out this body chemistry formula for the group. So you don't have to know body chemistry, but because I know it and I'm holding space for everybody that's on this video, you'll be able to get the benefits of it, okay? So just the general body chemistry, just focusing on all of the different microbes, all the different potential toxins in the body, in your body, any potential allergies or intolerances, so there's not overreactions going on. We're just and this is going to be really powerful immune boosting, but it's what we're doing is we're balancing the immune system, right? We're not making it stronger. So if there's things that you're overreacting to, like potentially an allergen or intolerance or something like that, it'll calm down that response, and in so doing you'll actually have more resources to deal with things that are, potential threats. So I'm just going to tap out this body chemistry formula for the group here, and again linking to that thalamus so that we can, so your body and mind can more effectively monitor the temperature regulation. And then that's cutting down and linking into the thymus and kind of rebooting the thymus, updating the thymus with the new programming, with the new program about what's going on in the world, and specifically with what's going on with the coronavirus, and basically letting the thymus know what the coronavirus is so that it can update how it trains its white blood cells. Now, some of you might feel a little feverish watching this, and that's okay. If that happens, that's just because your body is starting to wake up and notice that it's got things that it can work on, right? Okay. All right, so let's see what else we got going on. So we're still staying in body chemistry, but this time we are specifically focusing on the coronavirus. So go ahead and get a little bit more saliva. And just put a little bit more saliva in your navel. So this is a new sample, right? You've had some changes. And so we have the body chemistry of the corona, of your body looking at and being aware of the potential that a coronavirus might exist in your body mind, and if it does, being able to take action. And then what we're doing is we're linking this to, so I'm actually going down into the cellular level. So we're looking at the histocompatibility complex molecules that are on the outside of the cells, the receptors, the cellular receptors. Okay, cool. And so this is something that came across in the research that Kylene sent me from the doctor that was on that video. But the way the coronavirus works is it actually keys into the angiotensin receptor enzyme in the cell, and so people that have higher amounts of that particular receptor on their cells are more prone to have more serious infections than people that aren't. And so we're focusing, our ACE2 inhibitor is the abbreviation. You've probably heard of an ACE2 inhibitor. There's some drugs that actually, increase the amount of ACE2 inhibitors on certain cells and others. So we're focusing on the ACE2 inhibitors in the body mind. And there's 4 specific organs that I mean, I'm sure that they're everywhere in the body to some degree, but we're looking at specifically narrowing down specifically to 4 different organs in the body. So where the, those are, we're looking kind of, it is still a pretty broad spectrum, but it's those 4 organs, and specifically the ACE2 inhibitors, I'm sorry, the ACE2 receptors that would be on those 4 that are in the cells or on the outside the cells of those within those organs. So we're linking this body chemistry of the coronavirus, of the focus on that, to these the ACE2 receptors on the cell walls. And so that's packaging up as a single package. And what we're doing is we're linking that to the small intestine. Now, psychologically, the small intestine deals with discernment. The small intestine says, oh, this is food, this is unhealthy for us, we need to get rid of it. So the small intestine, as digesting your now we're going to use that energy kind of as a resource to monitor this formula so that those ACE2 receptors can be more discerning, more self-aware, more, is this something that is good for us, or is this something that's not good for us? Help it to be able to recognize when an imposter is showing up that it thinks is something that's helpful for it. And psychologically, I feel like this is something that we all kind of deal with. We've all had situations in our life where we think somebody is a good person, or we think that somebody's going to help us, or somebody's going to be there for us, and then they're not. Or they end up actually not being good for us. So in some sense, what we're doing by upgrading the receptors in the cells for the ACE2 receptors to be more discerning, we're also psychologically upgrading your body-mind's ability to be more discerning too. So it's not acting out of fear or panic when it meets new people, but is just more aware and able to make good choices. Okay, and that's all packaging up as a single item. So what happens when I'm using these words is we're just talking about sometimes things like to come in together and work together, and then as a group they want to talk to another part of the body mind. So what we're focusing on, we're actually linking this whole thing to the pineal gland. We're linking into there's actually kind of an axis of the pineal gland, the hypothalamus, and the pituitary gland. But we're also linking the pineal gland over the brain, like to the corpus callosum. So that's the part of the brain that kind of separates the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And what we're doing is we're going to be using a little bit of just kind of defragging the clutter that's between the two sides of the brain so that they can communicate more effectively with one another. Okay, and then this whole kind of complex. The pituitary, pineal, hypothalamus, as well as the corpus callosum around the top is looking at those receptors as well. So it's kind of going back and looking at them again. So it's kind of this feedback loop of, oh, that's interesting. It's really what it is it's kind of a recursive formula where every time the cell receptors get new input, they can make adjustments and upgrade more and more often. So this upgrade is happening, making it more discerning. The brain rescans everything and then figures out how to make it even better and optimizing it. So this optimization of the receptors this is going to be going on for a while in your body mind. So everybody that's been watching this video, so this is happening about every 3 seconds, and it's going to be going on for about the next probably 12 hours or so as your body continues to kind of look at itself and check itself out and watch what's going on. And so what we're going to do to implement this is I'm going to go ahead and tap the body chemistry formula again, this time specifically for the coronavirus. If you've had access, you can do this with me. If you haven't, you can just watch. If you want to put your hand on the side of the head, on your head, you can kind of focus on the emotional centers of the brain, and I'm just gonna focus on myself, and like I said, I'm using myself as a surrogate for everybody else that's watching this video or will watch this video. The energy is being transmitted, the focus and the energy is being transmitted through the torsion fields that come through the audio. So what'll happen here is you'll be able to get this benefit of really teaching your body and mind how to see the coronavirus and then be able to take stock. Okay. And then linking it to those receptors, to the ACE2 receptors, and then we're using that kind of that recursive formula to just continually upgrade the ability of the receptors to discern. We want them to allow in what it's supposed to allow in, and not allow in what's not supposed to be there, right? So we're up. So kind of like what we did with the thymus, we're upgrading the security of the ACE2 receptors in the heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys. Okay. All right. So let's just see what else comes up here. So I'm focusing on, we're going into section 1. For section 1, consciousness. We're focusing on the consciousness in the brain. Okay, so what's coming up is learning, the concept of learning. And kind of what I'm seeing here is, as a group, we want to make sure that we're learning because we enjoy learning, or because we want to, or because it's maybe the right thing to do, as opposed to learning from a fear-based response. And so we're anchoring this concept of learning into the heart brain. So the brain and the heart is just, going to be kind of defragging or breaking up the files when it comes to learning and reorganizing things so that you can learn in a more heart-centered way, in a more wholesome way, in a healthy way, much more efficiently. So this is not individuating, where it's the actual heart brain that we're going through and just defragging the files through the energy of the heart mind, the heart brain. Actually, we're also going to be using the gut brain as well. So it's kind of like the gut brain is going to also defrag the learning process so that you can have a more visceral knowing of how to learn from an open space, from a place of like gut awareness and knowing, as opposed to like over mentalizing and overthinking. Okay, so we're going to just tap that in. Okay. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this or not, there's really 3 brains in BodyTalk that we work on. There's the brain in the head, there's the brain in the heart, and there's the brain in the gut, or the enteric brain, or the small intestine brain. And all 3 of these brains have their own independent nervous system. So we're focusing on the brain in the gut brain, and that's linking to the microbiome, so it's linking to all of the bugs that are in the stomach and digestive tract. And that's actually linking to the heart brain specifically, so that nervous system in the heart that does and then it's also, we have the same thing happening with the head brain linking to the heart as well. And then the 3 brain complex as a whole. So having all 3 brains working and optimizing as one single entity as much as possible. And then anchoring that into the individuation process. So helping your 3 brains, helping yourself know that you are safe and secure, that you are a child of God, that you are just that you are, right? Okay. All right. Okay, so that's what we've got for the session today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot of if you missed part of it, you can go ahead and rewatch it. Like I said, the way I set this up is so that anybody that watches the video can get the healing benefits of the session. This session was general enough that pretty much anybody that watches this is going to get benefit. So let me know how you're feeling. I know I got a little feverish myself while I was doing that, so I definitely felt the energy, but some people are less aware of that than others, and so if you didn't, that's okay too. If you'd like to know more information about what I do, you can just follow the page here, or you can just do research on BodyTalk in general, and there's a lot of information that way. Yeah, got a few kind of cool things coming up here that I'll be sharing, and in the future. And in the meantime, just keep on the page, and if you want some specific work done, BodyTalk can do a lot for physical issues as well as psychological and emotional issues. From a BodyTalk perspective, they're all kind of the same thing. So if you need any one-on-one help for anything, just let me know, and I'd be happy to offer my services. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that, and electrons and sunshine. Take care of yourself. Bye.